Okay. Wow, sorry. Allergies and plenty of them. So stay tuned. Just firing things up here. It is Friday night, the first day of September. Welcome to a new month. August ended yesterday. We'll take a look at the almanac page coming up here in just a little while to see what we wound up with in the way of rain and wind and temperatures and things like that out there. Okay, live on Twitch TV, live on Facebook Live. This is the Friday night edition of News 12's exclusive video weather blog. This is Weather Overtime. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for stopping by. A lot of people in motion this weekend. We'll take a look at travel conditions out there, and we'll keep you advised as to what's going on with the forecast into what looks to be a busy holiday weekend. Also, the change in seasons. We'll take a look at the number of days left over as we get into close enough coming to the end of summer. But we changed over a season today, believe it or not. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. We'll also take a look at outdoor activities into the weekend. So if you have any outdoor plans, go ahead and keep them, but may want to think about, excuse me, sorry about that. Think about the sunblock. We're talking about plenty of sun out there, and we're also talking about the possibility of more rain in the semi-near future, but most of that is going to be well into next week. Could be a problem for Friday Night Football. Again, a little iffy on that. We'll be watching that carefully into the course of the next couple of days, so stay tuned on that. If you've got weather pictures, go ahead and send them in to us, starting things off with a spectacular lightning shot from a storm around Tracy City, Tennessee. Thank you very much, Carrie D. Shivers. I hope I'm saying that semi-correctly there. With a name like Onik, you want to make certain you pronounce everything as accurately as possible. This is something we don't usually see around here, that illumination. This is a very good capture to be able to see something like that out there. So very nice view. Thank you very much, Carrie, for that. If you've got weather pictures, please send them in to us. Give us an idea as to where you were, what you were looking at. Again, you don't have to give us all the details, but it would be nice to know a little bit more about your city, state, country, location, things like that, and then also just a description of what it is you were looking at out there. So drop into the comments section of our social media pages at WDEF News 12, or just email them to us at pictures at WDEF.com. Almanac page for the day. We did manage to scrape again very close to where we should be. Record high for today hasn't been broken since 1951, and a record low just below that around 49, just a few years before that, I should say, in 1946, of 49 degrees. So again, we were doing very much exactly where we should be on the temperatures here. We did manage to wind up with a surplus for the month of August. That's something you don't often see. So it is possible again to make that deficit up, and that's exactly what we did. So 2 inches ahead for the month of August. That's nice to know. We're still again about a month or about an inch or so behind. Going to have to double check those records going into around the rest of the forecast towards September. But for right now, so far so good on activity out there. Let's go ahead and take a look and see if I can find my camera back here to give you an idea as to what's going on out and across the area. News 12 studios in downtown Chattanooga, looking back toward the lights of Signal Mountain off in the distance. The traffic you see here on the elevated roadway, that's I-24, both directions, pretty well scrummed up back to the west earlier around rush hour, moving along quite nicely back to the east at this time. Little hazy and just a little bit of a breeze, so we got a little bit of a camera shimmer going on here, but not much of anything else in the way of heavy breezy winds out there for right now. Excuse me, Island Cove, looking back to the north, a few folks out and about on the water for tonight. A few clouds out there here and there, but really just not that much going on for the time being. From the Island Cove Marina and Resort camera, from the Plainview Outdoor Advertising camera at Lee Point, highways 153 and 64, moving along quite nicely. No major problems being seen there. Should have mentioned a minute ago our News 12 studio sponsor camera there. That's the veteran-owned Patriot Concrete camera. Thank you very much for being a sponsor with our camera there. From around the area of 2475, usually on a Friday night, this place is just hopping and not seeing a problem here on the Tomahawk crane and rigging camera from CHI Memorial Stadium camera, and also looking back towards Signal Mountain and able to see very clearly some of the lights off in the distance, so nice to be able to see that. From one of our brand new cameras at Chattanooga Theater Center, Total Speedy's Car Care, looking across the Tennessee River. You can see the shimmer of the lights down there, and the Veterans Memorial Bridge with Old Glory hanging up there on the lamppost. Thank you very much. One of our brand new sponsors there. And going back downtown for another view, looking back toward the south and to the, back to the east. Had a good view just a little while ago. Give me a second while I repair this view for just a moment. I was aiming the camera around so that we could see the rising just past full moon, so we were able to take a look and see what it looked like out there for right now. Let me see if I can get this turned back around real quick and watch the camera spin while we're going around here. This is from our Bailey's Heating and Air camera. And again, a nice view of the area in and around downtown. A lot of folks in town going to visit their kids at UTC. A lot of folks out and about. Beautiful evening out there. Absolutely gorgeous conditions with temperatures not doing too bad at this time. It's very comfortable across the entire area, back in the mid to upper 70s. It's a little warm, but it's not bad. And with the breeze and some decently dry air, we're not seeing a big amount of problems out there for the time being. So good news again on that. Heading into the weekend, let's take a closer look at some of the temperatures out there. Again, mid to upper 70s for the most part, a few lower 70s back over into western North Carolina and north central Georgia. And regionally, temperatures quite nice. Nashville, the warm spot out there, back in the lower 80s, and Bristol back up toward extreme northeastern Tennessee, southern Virginia, back into around the mid to upper 60s. So I'd call that comfortable out there for right now. Next few hours will have a few clouds out and about, but beyond that, I don't see too much happening at this time. Taking a look at a lot of moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. This could have been a lot more soggier conditions for us as we get into the rest of the forecast here. The front we had over the area earlier last week did a good job of helping Idalia stay to the south and east of us, acting like a curb and pushing it out into the Atlantic. This is from an area of low pressure sitting down across the Gulf of Mexico. Not going to become a tropical storm or a hurricane, but it is doing a good job of shoving some moisture up here. This is actually a decent amount of moisture, but the thing is right here, it's surrounded by tons of dry air. So as this goes north, there's really not much to sustain it, and that's partly what knocked the sails out of Idalia, was some of the drier air surrounding it. So that kind of nibbled away at it as it made its way over the southeast United States. If we had a lot more moisture-rich air here, I think we would have been seeing more rain in the forecast for tonight, today, and last night. Not happening for right now. Some clouds, yes, but that's about it. And if you're heading south in the next couple of hours, you might wind up with a shower or so somewhere around Birmingham, southwest of Atlanta, down toward Montgomery, but beyond that, there's just not that much going on. And even this is going to basically dwindle and fall out a little bit later on tonight, so there's just not that much out there. Idalia and Franklin, shades of their former selves. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Our area of low pressure skirting the Gulf Coast area, the western Gulf Coast, slowly moving along that dying stationary front and able to move some of that moisture back up to the north of us. So for right now, there's just really just not that much going on and not expecting much. And you can clearly see the gray colors get there. Again, the cloud cover out across the area. That's it. From Texas to the mid-Missouri River Valley, all the way back to the Great Lakes, dry, stable air, and that is really about all that we have in place at this point. And honestly, just really not seeing much more than that for the area for tonight, so good news on that. Jeff Peterson, the 9th month of the year, yes, the cooler temperatures cannot get here fast enough. It's going to be warming up into next week, so I'd be glad to see a little bit of frost around here, actually. Peak of hurricane season, yeah, that's coming up soon. And that super typhoon aiming right for Hong Kong The good news is they're prepared, decades of experience on things like that, so not too much to worry about there, but I do know that they have a lot of preparations they make when something like that aims right for Hong Kong. So nice to be able to see them ready to go with that. And we'll talk about those 6 disturbances in the Atlantic, a little foreshadowing there from Mr. Peterson for tonight, so thank you for that. All right, through the weekend we go into tonight and early tomorrow. Temperatures back in the mid-60s with clouds here and there, but that's about it. The clouds peel off and dry air takes over. Enough sunshine around Nashville to be about 90 degrees, and then mid to upper 80s tomorrow. With enough sunshine, if the clouds linger, temperatures may be a little bit less warm. But I think we'll probably do a pretty good run into the upper 80s like we did today. Mid to lower 60s, decently cool for Sunday morning and clear. All the clouds confined down to the south and east of us. Pushing 90 as we go towards Sunday afternoon, and then heading off to the barbecues and getting things ready to go for Labor Day out and about. Nice, back in the lower to mid 60s, and really not much more than that. Got to time this out properly. Hang on a second. My temperatures on the models keep disappearing here. There we go. Early afternoon on Monday, temperatures back in the high 80s to around about the lower 90s. This is decently typical for this area of the country, but not really doing too much more than that at this point. So I really don't see major blasts of heat coming on through. We do see a little bit more in the way of cloud cover coming up, and that again shouldn't be too much to worry about. Some of this is going to be coming in from the west, so it's a good possibility this is going to be the leading edge of, you notice that kind of arc shape right there. We'll back this up and put it back in forward motion. You can see those clouds coming in from the west-southwest, so I'm assuming that's going to be the leading edge of some of that very warm temperatures moving our way, and that again could be giving us some more problems. On the long-range forecast, seeing the big blob of heat out to the west, which got shoved back to the west of us a few days ago, now starting to reassert a little bit hotter conditions our direction. Not a heat wave, no major triple digits, no record high temperatures. That looks to be over toward the southwest United States and the Big Bend area of Texas and also the Rio Grande. But we also see some warmer conditions coming up where we are in the course of the next several days. So that is where we're going to be seeing those much warmer temperatures out there. All right, running the numbers into the rest of the holiday forecast, it is going to be increasingly warm. So numbers back in the upper 80s to around about the lower 90s for the foreseeable future. The potential for rain, yes, kind of, sort of. We're looking at numbers back into around next Friday, 20% at best coverage chance on this. So Friday night football, that could be a bit of an issue there. My apologies early to our sports department, Rick Nyman and Brian Armstrong, and all of our photographers going out to shoot Friday night football. Again, this is still many days away, so as we get closer to Friday, we'll see how well that pans out. Yesterday, the showers and thunderstorms started showing up around Thursday. Now they've been shoved off to around Friday. Maybe the computer models will keep pushing that out as the likelihood of that really just doesn't increase all that much. So for right now, I just don't see that much of anything happening in the way of rain. Remember the sunblock this weekend, and also drink your water because it is going to be hot enough out there to sap your strength and get enough sweat out to make you dehydrated if you don't drink back what your body needs. Again, keeping a tankard handy, ice water, again, that'll help you out more than anything else. Make certain you're sipping on that all the way through the day to make sure that you prepare yourself for that. Let's take a look at some outdoor activities out there. Heading out on the golf course and avoiding the gophers. Somebody calls spackler, make certain that the divot is replaced. Not seeing too much in the way of comfortable conditions. A little hotter tomorrow. Air temperatures mid to upper 80s. Heat indexes pushing the lower 90s, and those winds out of the southeast not really doing anything to cool anybody off. Likewise, if you're going out to drown a few worms, as my Uncle Gary used to say, heading out for the boat, the dock, and the bait shop, it's going to be a good day for fishing according to the website, with the moon waning past full, and we see again clearing skies through the day, so a few clouds in the morning and then clearing out as we go into the afternoon. Those winds continue out of the southeast at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. The rest of the forecast, again, into the next couple of days. We've already passed through tonight, but one more view of the Food City certified Angus beef on the grill cast. Not too bad for grilling outdoors, not as blazing hot as it could be. Personally, I'm a fan of grilling in January or February because, I mean, you got the grill you're standing next to keep you warm anyway. And the idea of that aroma of roasting steak, whatever else you put on the grill, apologies to any vegans out there for that thought. But again, the idea of standing out in the cold air, being heated up by the grill, and letting the smell of whatever you're grilling wafting over the neighborhood, that to me is a really good idea as to why you would like to do something like that, at least for me anyway. So if you're heading out to grill, very much on the mild side, kind of sort of humid, but otherwise not looking too bad out there. Temperatures over the next several days, as we said, again, from the Climate Prediction Center, showing the bulk of the heat back to the west of us. But we will see above normal temperatures here, and that goes all the way throughout the rest of next week. We also see, again, the potential of maybe a little bit more rainfall, just a bit above average, mostly in the average category. So yes, there is the possibility of rain, less potential to our south and to our west. All right, for the big day itself, heading out the door again to grill or just heading out for a good nosh. We're looking at some pretty nice conditions out there. We'll be warmer during the afternoon and right about sunset, upper 70s to lower 80s, so decently mild all the way around, and not seeing any major concerns out there for rainfall anytime soon from what it looks like. Again, we're just about to the change in season. We're about 3 weeks away, 21 days and change, until the astronomical change in seasons where we go to the equinox. That's equal day and night, and that's about 21 days away for now. That's astronomical autumn. Today, we changed over into another season from meteorological summer to meteorological autumn. That always happens on the first day of the month that the seasons change. So with the change in astronomical season coming up September 21st, the changeover in meteorological season happens on the first of that particular month. So when we go to winter, the solstice on the 21st of December, meteorological winter will set in December 1st. And this is done to keep track of records. This is for meteorologists, researchers, climatologists who study the change in weather and season. So the period of time between the changeovers at the astronomical change of seasons does not occur during the data switchover point. So now we have a record going from September 1st to December 1st for the season, covering all that, including the changeover in seasons. It makes a lot of sense to people who do the research and, again, studying the climate. So that is something that is very important, so good enough to take a look at there. But happy first day of meteorological autumn. Glad you're with us for the change in season there. We have two, and I didn't update this until last night, so apologies for the delay. Two solar eclipses coming up in the semi-near future. The first one, the annular solar eclipse, it'll be visible from the area, weather permitting, but it is, again, an annular eclipse, so it doesn't cover all of the moon, doesn't cover all the sun's surface. A total solar eclipse coming up April 8th, 2024. That is where the moon covers the sun entirely. So you'll be able to see a little bit of a ring around the sun if you have the special glasses or the filters on the telescope or binoculars. Remember, never, ever, 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 even during a total eclipse, never look directly at the sun. Damage to the eyes. Galileo found that out the hard way. So we'll keep you updated on this. Good website to go to for more information at solarsystem.nasa.gov/eclipses, which is actually where we get this information from. So if you'd like to see more about that, I would have shown you more about astronomy for tonight, but it's rather on the cloudy side out there, so not really too much to be shown for this evening, unfortunately. So wish we could show you more on that, but just not happening at this time. Okay, so in the tropics, Franklin and Idalia are post-tropical systems. Franklin is still a post-tropical hurricane, still a Category 1. It's left the tropics. It is now no longer showing any characteristics of a tropical system, so that's why it's called, again, post-tropical, as it moves into the colder waters. Idalia, a tropical storm with winds of about 50 miles per hour. So it's a little bit weaker and definitely not, it's a shadow of its former self. Looking back out to around Franklin, the storm system again making its way back toward the north and east, and this is where it gets kind of interesting because this is still technically a Category 1 hurricane. We also have Jose, a tropical storm, and according to the National Hurricane Center, what's left of Franklin is going to be making its way up and engaging and possibly absorbing Tropical Storm Jose as it goes into the colder waters of the North Atlantic. So there's not much of a threat with this. Maybe some gales for Iceland or the areas around the British Isles, depending on what happens there. We'll keep you updated on that. What's left of Gert continues to wander aimlessly, kind of jackdaw meanderings here in the central Atlantic. It is still a tropical storm, albeit barely, winds of 40 miles per hour. Now, we also have at this point, we did have, and it seems to have dropped off the list, we might have a new storm out there. Let me just double check to make certain that I'm getting the information from the National Hurricane Center real quick because, okay, now we have, the reason we don't have anything on this map is because all these markers here, I have to update them manually. So we do have in and around the area of the eastern Atlantic, this little blob here, this is now Tropical Depression number 12. So that is the fifth of the six storms we're talking about, and a new impulse of energy making its way off the coast of Africa from the Sahel. That one moving its way into the mid-Atlantic to the west-northwest, kind of following Gert's track and Franklin's track by a little bit. Whether or not this becomes anything, it's a moderate chance. That's what the orange color is. But for right now, we're not seeing anything else. I mean, count all this up. This is 6 different systems, and the peak of hurricane season is about, give or take, a couple of weeks away. So things are getting very active out there for right now, and this is why it is very important that if you're traveling to keep up to date as to what's going on and make certain you stay ahead of what may be heading our direction. Again, if you're traveling for vacation down to the beach as we get into September and October, watch the weather. You do not want to be heading into an area where an evacuation order is going to cause you to get gone. It's not going to be fun watching people leave the area and you stranded in all that traffic. So plan ahead. Don't plan ahead to not be in that scrum of traffic, and we'll all be a lot happier out there for right now. Jeff Peterson, I would like to try, that sounds great, some filtered spring water on there. I don't know where that is. I've never, of course, I'm just brand new here, so I don't know a lot about the area. But yeah, I would love to know a little bit more about that. So you can email me at aonic@wdef.com or just post it on here at some point in time. I'd love to hear more about it. Always nice to hear about these new local spots to go to on there. And Bishop Bob Midget, welcome to the show. Thanks for stopping by. Say hello to Mr. Josh and the family for me. I hope your Labor Day weekend goes as well, and very quiet and safe out there. And that goes to everybody as well. So again, we're not seeing, and more importantly, and I should say this for, excuse me, for impact's sake on this, no current system, none of this is heading our way and causing a threat. So that's good news. And again, cleanup continues around the area between the Panhandle and the peninsula of Florida, but we have no active systems heading our direction of any note, so that's very good news. Very quiet, so hopefully, again, a good Labor Day holiday as we head out of the unofficial end of summer and into autumn. But man, we've got a lot of activity going on here, a lot to watch, and we'll keep you updated on that. More coming up a little bit later on News 12 at 11, and of course Todd Heislip will have more in your forecast coming up throughout the rest of the weekend at News 12 at 11 at Saturday and Sunday. We got an absolute wagon full of requests in, the last about 48 hours, so it's nice to know that the website is working. We got back to everybody as soon as we possibly could. Unfortunately, time limits us some point in time, so if we don't immediately get a turnaround to you, we apologize, but that's about as good as we can do out there. Please be patient with us. If you do have a request for our weather experts to come talk at your facility or school, we also talk, we're not limited to schools. If you would like us to come and talk to your church group, your civic organization, I've done weather safety presentations for international paper back in Memphis to the Shelby County Mayor's Office in Memphis as well. I've done several on-site presentations for severe weather safety, emergency communications, all stuff like that. So if you'd like to request us for anything, go to the Food City Weather in the Classroom program page, wdef.com/weather, and click on the Weather in the Classroom segment and fill out the details on that. And again, we'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can, but I'm handling most of this myself these days, so please keep an eye on what's going on out there. If you're traveling, great weather from out on the coast. San Francisco looking beautiful. Haven't been back out there since 1985. I would love to get back out that direction to see what it looks like. Around the Sangre de Cristo Mountains in Taos, New Mexico. Beautiful conditions out that direction, so not too shabby there. From one of my favorite places, well, it's a little dark there now, but it was a beautiful sunset earlier at Cape Porpoise in Maine. If I ever win the lottery, this is where you will find me wandering around someplace. Beautiful area. Love the location, and did vacation there with the entire fam a few years ago, and would love to get back at some point in time to let people know a little bit more about what's happening there. The reason we're putting all this on the screen to give you an idea as to what it looks like across parts of the area. People are traveling and pretty well in motion, so keep up to date with what's going on with anything involving travel. Lovell Field from Chattanooga showing a green icon for right now, so, and that's expected to hold steady, so no major problems here. And from some of the major airports around the country, so far, so good. The departure delays are not showing up at this time. Well, they are showing up, but we're not seeing any delays. So good news on that. So hopefully that continues through the rest of the holiday weekend and into Monday evening. We'll keep you up to date on travel conditions as we go into the course of the next several days. So definitely want to stay tuned there. That should do it, I think, for tonight. We're going to wrap this up because we've got to get this posted to the web and get ready for News 12 at 11. Myself and Andrew Harrison will be coming up with the news and weather, respectively. And Brian Armstrong and Rick Nyman will be here with Touchdown Friday night to give you an idea as to what the Friday night football results were from around the area. Beautiful night for Friday night football out there. Going to be a hotter one next week, so if you're planning on Friday night tailgate show out there, definitely want to make certain you dress cool and get lots of water because you are going to need it as the heat returns across the area. Check out your forecast, always available at wdef.com/weather. And again, I'm on all these social media channels, so check me out and give me an idea as to where you're at on there. Just added Mastodon, Counter Social, and also, of course, Twitch. We're on there as well, so stay tuned for more there. Live and direct from Friday night, the first night of September, brand new month. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onick. This has been our exclusive video weather blog, Weather Overtime, from the studios of News 12 in downtown Chattanooga, Tennessee, USA. Hope you have a great, safe, and cool weekend out there. We'll have updates again on the website and have more. I'll be in for the vacationing Chip Chapman on Monday morning, Labor Day, and News 12 meteorologist Todd Heislip will have more coming up on Monday evening. Thanks for joining us, and hope that the weekend is safe, and keep it tuned to News 12 on air and online throughout the rest of the weekend.